Welcome to House of Horrors. Some sins never fade, some souls never rest, and some curses last forever. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones. This is Among the Shadows. Now, let's begin. October 22nd, 1996. My name is Thomas Cole. I am 48 years old and serve as a pastor at a church in Salem, Massachusetts. Salem, a town still burdened by the weight of its dark past, forever haunted by the infamous witch trials. Here I try to spread the light of God. But some nights, even that light seems to vanish into the shadows. Lately, my sleep has been restless. My hands tremble while preparing the morning service. My mind drifts while praying. Sometimes I feel I am not alone in the church. As my footsteps echo on the wooden floor, I hear another step one that doesn't belong to me. I've turned around several times only to face empty, dark corridors. Perhaps exhaustion is playing tricks on me, ... This morning, after the service, an elderly member of our congregation, named Emily, approached me. She was distressed. She claimed to hear whispers at night coming from her daughter's room and had seen shadows moving on the walls. The fear in her eyes was real. I advised her to pray, sprinkle holy water, and read verses from the Bible. Yet a strange unease stirred within me. These complaints have become more frequent lately. I worked late tonight, searching through the old records in the church's basement. In Salem's history, I found accounts of supernatural events dating back to the 1700s. In one priest's journal, a line was scrawled in trembling handwriting: "The shadows come and take the innocent." Another record warned, "The witch's curse enslaves the souls of the unwary." Past midnight I heard a noise. At first I thought it was the wind, but then the basement door creaked, and I heard a whisper close to my ear, "Pastor Cole." My blood ran cold. I gripped my crucifix tightly and climbed the stairs. The church hall was shrouded in darkness. The candles had all been extinguished, yet I had lit them myself. As I stepped toward the altar, I saw a symbol drawn with melted candle wax on the floor, ... An inverted cross, surrounded by unfamiliar, ominous markings. I rose early, cleaned the symbol, and blessed the church. But the unease didn't leave me. As I was leaving, Emily's husband, Mark, stopped me. He said he had seen a figure standing outside his daughter's window the night before. He called the police, but they found nothing. I told him to stay alert. The dread in my chest grew heavier. I stayed in the church all night. I had my Bible, a bottle of holy water, and my crucifix beside me. At 2:43 a.m., footsteps echoed across the wooden floor. My heart pounded. I climbed the altar and called out, "Who's there?" "This is the house of God. Whoever you are, kneel before the light." Silence. Then came the whisper, "Pastor Cole, you can't protect them." I descended the steps. In the shadows between the candles, I saw it. A figure made of darkness. No face, no eyes. Yet I knew it was watching me. I raised my crucifix and began to pray. "In the name of the Lord, I command you to leave this holy place." The shadow retreated, dissolving into the darkness. But at that moment, the basement door slammed shut. The morning after the service, Emily returned. She said they'd found a message scrawled in blood on the mirror of her daughter's room. "Pastor Cole can't see us. This is no ordinary haunting. Something dark has returned to Salem, and it knows who I am." I woke up with my heart pounding as if it might tear through my chest. I could no longer find true rest at night. The shadowy figure haunted my thoughts. That formless silhouette in the church, the whisper I heard in the basement. Were these merely tricks played by my exhausted mind, or footprints of an ancient evil still lurking in Salem's shadows? While sipping my coffee, I stared at the wooden cross on the table. My mother had given it to me when I decided to become a priest. Holding it once brought me peace, but today the cold metal in my hand did nothing to ease the dread in my chest. Today I decided to visit Emily's family. I needed to see for myself what was happening in Lily's room. Mark opened the door. The worry etched on his face was unmistakable. "Come in, Pastor Cole," he said, his voice trembling. "This is beyond us now. Lily cries all night. Ever since we saw that writing on the mirror, she refuses to sleep in her bed." When I stepped into the room, my throat tightened. Lily sat in the corner of her bed, wide-eyed, staring at the mirror. I approached it. The writing had been erased, but a thin crack had appeared on the surface. As I reached out and touched it, I heard a faint, hollow whisper, "Pastor Cole, your time is running out." I jerked my hand back. Lily's voice trembled as she whispered, "Did you see the man?" "Who, Lily?" I asked. "The man in black. He hides in the shadows. He comes to my window at night and says," her voice broke and tears rolled down her cheeks. "What does he say, Lily?" I asked gently. "He says, Pastor Cole can't save you." My mouth went dry. I urged the family to pray and blessed Lily's room with holy water. But as I left their home, the fear within me only grew. When I returned to the church, I found an envelope on the doorstep. My name was written on it, but there was no sender. Inside was an old photograph of 6 people, their faces blurred. The style suggested it was from the 1800s. On the back, a single sentence was scrawled, "They have returned." That night, as I prayed in the back room of the church, I heard footsteps. I turned around, heart racing. The shadow was there again, standing by the altar. More defined this time, its long, slender arms stretched outward. It whispered, "Pastor Cole, you can't protect them. They will be ours. In the name of God, I command you to leave this place." I shouted, raising the cross in my hand. I began to pray. The figure recoiled, then let out a shrill, unearthly scream before dissolving into the darkness. But when I looked down, I saw a new symbol drawn in blood on the wooden floor, an eye within a triangle. Beneath it, a single word was written, "Abaddon." I awoke to the sound of my phone ringing. Emily's voice came through, frantic and tearful. "Pastor Cole, Lily is gone. We checked on her this morning, and she wasn't in her bed." The window was open. The phone slipped from my hand, ... The name Abaddon. In the ancient records I'd read, it was known as the Prince of Destruction. Salem's curse had awakened once more, and this time it had taken a child. 6:45 and my eyes are bloodshot. The fear that came with the news of Lily's disappearance has now taken a tangible form. Emily and Mark are devastated. We've alerted the police, but deep down, I know they'll treat this like an ordinary missing child case. But this is anything but ordinary. This is a warning from the dark past of Salem, a town that has become a playground for an ancient evil. I spent hours praying in the church basement. As I read the Bible, one name kept echoing in my mind, Abaddon. According to ancient texts, Abaddon is the Prince of Destruction, a being that enslaves souls and brings chaos. But why has it surfaced now? And why is it targeting me? Halloween in Salem has always carried a sinister weight. People dress in costumes, tell old witch stories, and laugh nervously as if the town's dark past is nothing more than legend. But this year I feel more cautious than ever. This morning I found a black envelope at the church door. Across the front, written in red letters, was a single word: basement. With trembling hands, I descended into the church basement. I pushed through cobwebs and dust until I reached the old wooden cabinet in the far corner. Inside, I found a worn, leather-bound book with faded Latin text on the cover: Maledictum Tenebris, the Curse of Darkness. As I flipped through the pages, one passage stood out. When the shadow of Abaddon falls, the purest souls are drawn to it. The protector must stand firm in faith, for when faith falters, the gates will open. As I read those words, the basement door slammed shut. A whisper slithered through the darkness. "Pastor Cole, it's too late." I gripped my cross and began reciting Psalm 23. "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." The whisper faded. The door creaked open. The police found no trace of Lily. Emily can no longer speak. Her eyes are hollow with despair. Mark tries to hide his tears, but his hopelessness is clear. As I sat in the pew, praying for answers, an old man appeared at the door. He introduced himself as Edward Thompson. His face was etched with deep lines, and his eyes spoke of terrible things. "Pastor Cole," he said in a low voice, "you need more than prayers to stop them." I stared at him, stunned. "Stop what, Mr. Thompson? Abaddon's children?" "Decades ago, children went missing in Salem, just like Lily. But it was never recorded. People were too afraid to speak. That book, it holds the answer. You must perform the ritual, or you'll never see Lily again." I reopened the ancient book. The ritual Thompson mentioned was called Lumen Fidei, the light of faith. 3 elements were required: a personal belonging of the lost soul. The church bells must ring at midnight. A chain of prayer spoken with unwavering faith. I went to Lily's room and took her teddy bear. Explaining this to Emily was painful, but she agreed, clinging to even a sliver of hope. Midnight. I stand alone in the church. The air is thick, the shadows restless. I rang the church bell. Its metallic cry shattered the silence. I placed a teddy bear in front of the altar and knelt beside it. In the name of the Lord, I cast out the shadows that haunt this sacred ground. I break the curse of Abaddon, return Lily's innocent soul. The wind roared through the stained glass windows. The candles flickered, then died. A piercing, inhuman shriek echoed through the church. Then, from the shadows, a figure emerged. It was Lily. Her hair hung limply over her shoulders. Her skin was pale. Her eyes pitch black. "Pastor Cole," she whispered, "save me before they come." A cold breath stirred the air behind me. I turned around. A shadowy figure, tall and faceless, drifted toward me. Its presence felt suffocating. "Abaddon," I whispered, "leave this place." The figure spread its arms wide. Cracks spidered across the church walls. "I will take their souls, Pastor," it said in a voice like grinding stone, "and I will feast on your fear." I raised my cross and prayed with every ounce of faith I had left. The shadow recoiled, screeching in agony, but Lily was dragged back into the darkness. At dawn, I found a message scrawled in blood on the church wall. "The ritual failed. She is ours now." I couldn't save Lily, But this was just the beginning. To be continued. Some stories don't end here. Some curses last forever. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe and turn on notifications for more horror tales. And next time, make sure you're not alone in the dark. Good night from House of Horrors.